and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. My name is Noelle McFoy.
And I'm Scott Ramp, and here for you, Wake Up Missoula is having a whole bunch of stuff happening on our show today. We have Flagship Friday, we have an arts clip by Rick, and we have some new programming for you guys for tonight as well. But first, let's talk about a little bit about weather. There is a winter advisory warning going on right now, so if you guys, if we take a look at our weather, it is currently 25 degrees outside. You have that winter advisory until 11 a.m. this morning. And you can expect snow, but of course I really haven't seen too much snow, but I'm assuming that the snow is fairly prevalent on the highways.
That's prevalent. What I would think too, yeah. Drive safe out there, everyone.
But of course tonight's going to be 60% chance of snow, so snow is likely, so if you're going to guys going to be out on the town, make sure you're limiting your time to lack of snow falling on your head.
Yeah, just be careful. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's during the weekend you have a 40% chance of snow. Sunday it's going to lower, but of course your temperature is only going to get up to 29 degrees today. So it's going to be a nice winter day today. Mm-hmm. It's a nice calm winter day. And then of course this weekend it's going to be
bit cold.
A little colder for sure. Yeah. So you don't want to be stuck outside in the cold.
No, you don't.
But what you guys want to do, if you guys want to be stuck here with us, you can get in contact with us via our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. You can go into the little Contact Us tab, and it will bring you put your name, your email, your subject, and your message. You can reach us, and you can be on our show. You can also find us on our Facebook page. And you're more than welcome to like us, but, I don't really care if you do or not. But, you should totally like us if you want to see Flagship Friday videos and more. But also, you can follow us on Twitter, because I usually tweet something funny now and again, something that just comes to mind.
Sure does. You can like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter as well, as MCAT Missoula. You can like us on Facebook. And if you want to find out more information about MCAT, just go to mcat.org.
Cool.
Yeah. But what sort of new programming do we have, Scott?
We have a pianissimo.
Ooh.
Yes, that's going to be playing tonight, along with the Montana Festival of the Book, Part 11. But of course, I don't know if you haven't heard in the news recently that the university is giving a 2% raise to the top tier of the university members.
I sure have.
And you also know for a fact that the University of Montana is going through budget cuts as well. They went from $10 million to $12 million in budget cuts.
Yep. And, wow, the top people are getting raises. So President Ingstrom is getting about $6,000.
Yes.
And then, what's the other guy? Something Brown? I do not know who he is.
But
he's getting about $4,000 raises.
Yes.
While we are cutting classes and professors from all sorts of different departments across the university, which make us a liberal college as we are so defined.
Yep.
3 of the wonderful journalism professors are getting cut, while the president, gets a bunch of more money. It's like, oh man. And also, one thing, Missoulian, I'm calling you out. I don't care about the Montana Natural History Center. Well, no, I do. It's a great thing. But the Montana Natural History Center should not have been front page with a huge headline. The story of the university should have been. So that's how I feel about that. And my opinions are not reflected and do not reflect Missoula Community Access Television, Charter Communications, or the City of Missoula.
Yeah, that's all 3.
It sure is.
And I'll be saying that later during the city council meeting, because they're talking about oil royalties and the EPA.
Yeah.
So there's like two big federal based topics for today's city council that I'm gonna be talking about. So no bouncy houses for y'all who are pissed and up in arms. Because I remember when we were doing that kids festival, and it's like if I was mayor, I'd make sure that every kid has a bounce house.
You got a bouncy house. You have one.
Yes.
I know. I would too.
It's very. I don't know the city government had an extra grant against bounce houses, and myself included, who loves bounce houses.
You need to be mayor. Yeah. So pretty much budget cuts and lack of bounce houses. But if you guys read the Missoulian today, it's in the side column right next to the front headline page, which like I said, I think it should have been the main story, but
yeah.
I'm not an editor.
I mean, it's definitely like one of those, you beat a dead horse, and this is just another piece of the puzzle.
Outraged.
That's just kind of like perpetuating snowball down a hill avalanche.
Ugh.
Who knows? I don't know how it's going to turn out. People are just going to be like, oh, that's stupid, and then just not really do anything about it.
I hope not. I hope people do something about it. Because that's super lame. That's terrible. Are you serious? That's terrible. They're cutting so many classes and
let's
professors.
talk about what's not terrible, and that's the Montana Festival of the Book.
Oh.
And, of course, Pianissimo. So we have a clip to highlight tonight's programming on MCAT. So here, check it out, and when we come back, we'll have Noelle with events.
Fortunate enough to read his books and come to an event or a reading or a signing and get to know him.
Right here.
Right. How many of you just learned about him in the last month or the couple of months since he died?
Back then, like in the 80s, he was just signing books, and then by the 90s or so, he had Band-Aids. He would have a line out the door even here, and he had been longer in other cities, and he had Band-Aids on his fingers, and he used those green felt tip pins. Always.
Hello everyone, and we are about to enter into some events. So this is what's going on in your community today. These next events are a bunch of kid-friendly things going on until about noon. So starting at 9:30 a.m. over at Missoula YMCA is Family Fun Time. They have lots of activities for children and nice comfy chairs for adults to sit and hang out. Yep. It's included with your membership, and it's $17 if you don't have one.
It's like until noon, and then it's after hours.
Yeah, after hours, nap time. Over at Missoula Gymnastics, they're also having their version of the Family Fun Time. This is where it's an open gym for ages 12 years to walking to 12 years, whatever. Yeah, so it's just pretty much like a gym and trampolines and all that fun stuff.
It's more like an intro to get kids inspired to do gymnastics.
It sure is, yeah. Okay, over at the Missoula Public Library, they're having their open time in their makerspace starting at 10 a.m. I guess that's not really kid-friendly, but whatever, bring your kid in there.
It's great.
And then also at the public library, Tiny Tales is going on at 10:30. This is story time for ages birth to 3 years. And they sing songs and hear stories and finger plays and nursery rhymes. Yeah. And then there's also more story time at the public library at 10:30. This is for an older crowd, and it's themed story time on the dragon rug, which may include songs and an art activity. Sounds great. Over at Roots Acro Sports Center, they're having their preschool playgroup starting at 11. This is for ages walking to 5 years. And it's a supervised gym where they can just get lots of experiences with tumbling and trampolining and all that crazy stuff. It's $8 a drop-in or $12 for siblings. Over at Taste Buds Kitchen, they've got a pretzel twist cooking workshop for ages 2 to 6. It starts at 11 and it's $20. And then over at the Children's Museum at 11, they're having calligraphy classes. Ooh. Yeah, so that's from 11 to 11:30. You can meet in the art room. And then at a Spectrum Discovery area at 11, they're having their discovery bench is astrobiology, and their brain lab is neurons. And then we get to the after hours with Yarns, which is at the public library, and it's for all those knitters and crocheters to get together and craft and hang out and gossip. This sounds like a lot of fun. And then over at the Missoula Art Museum, they're having an art guide training. It starts at 3 p.m. today, and it's for free. And so you're pretty much going to get a peek at some of Montana's finest emerging and established artists. Uh-huh. Yeah, pretty cool. So just call 728-0447, extension 228. There's a wine tasting and live music by Larry Hirschberg up at Ten Spoon Vineyard and Winery, starting at 4. And then at 4:30 is an ULA practice class at the Barn Movement Studio. This is put on for free through the month of January because the teacher is getting her instruction in ULA. So you can go in there and try some ULA for free. Yeah. Over at Gallery 709 in Montana Art and Framing on Ronan Street, they are having a art show. It's called Don H. Munt, Painting Spanning 45 Years. So he's going to exhibit works by expanding over 30 years, including the remaining wild nails from his first show in the UC Gallery in 1982. So back in the day. Cool. And then we have another activity. This is put on by the Missoula Art Museum, but it's going to be in the ballroom in the UC. And so it's their 44th benefit art auction and exhibition.
Yeah,
I never know how
it
to
didn't
say
seem so. It wasn't as long ago when they did their Ruby Jubilation
I know.
auction, which is weird because I remember we were doing our show when they had the Ruby Jubilation, but it's their 44th already.
I think so.
That doesn't really make any sense because
this
we
is
haven't done our
something
show
else,
for 4 years.
I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet their Ruby Jubilation is like another thing, and then this is their
Yeah.
benefit art auction and exhibit. So it features contemporary art by Montana-based and nationally known artists. Yeah, so they're going to be in the UC Ballroom at the university for a festive night and fun and support of the arts. So think outside the box and dress to the nines for this year theme, out of the box. And then it's just going to feature artists. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. So purchase tickets, 728-0447. And then over at E3 Convergence Gallery, they've got a show called Sometime Somewhere. Are you going to do it? He's trying to interrupt me with his soda opening.
I haven't interrupted you. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I knew you. I know what he's up to, everyone.
It's
You
not
guys
what I
can't
do.
see it.
It's not what I do. It's what I don't do.
You guys can't see
For Noelle.
it. Whatever.
Boom.
Okay, so E3 Convergence Gallery is having a juried art exhibit. It's called Sometime Somewhere. And they're bringing in 23 regional and national artists to showcase the fine line between visual art and storytelling. Over at the ZAC, they're having a gallery opening, Brian Christensen Photography. Starts at 5:30. The collection of photographs were shot between April and August of this 2015. And the aim of the show is to provide viewers with a glimpse into the splendor that is Western Montana.
Nice.
Splenda.
Splenda? Like the sugar, non-sugar sweetener?
Splenda.
Okay.
Well, I said splendor, but then it sounded like Splenda. And I think splendor is a kind of weird word.
That's splendid.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so also at the Zootown Arts Community Center, they've got a silk screening night. Starts at 5:30. And no registration is necessary, and you can just drop on by. Throw some change in the donation jar. And then there is traditional Irish music at the Union Club at 6. And then a Taste of Italy BYOB cooking class at Taste Buds Kitchen at 6:30.
I thought it would be more like BYOW.
Yeah, bring your own wine.
Because it's Italy. Italy's synonymous with drinking wine, cooking with wine, rubbing wine on your skin to prevent
Bathing
sunburns.
in wine, yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, bathing in wine. That's like hedonism right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty much. Sounds crazy to me. Okay, so Missoula Public Library's got their worldwide cinema starting at 7. This film is called The Lesson, and it's from Bulgaria. Yeah. And we got some music. Idle Ranch Hands will be at the Union Club at 9:30, and then Jones Zen will be at the Top Hat Lounge at 10. So that's what's going on in your community today. Up next, we're switching gears and going over to Asaph's segment.
You are the Kirk unit. You will assist me. I have been programmed by Vija to observe normal functions of the carbon-based units infesting USS Enterprise. Isn't that a great line? Just think of that. Normal functions of the carbon-based units instead of humans infesting the Enterprise. That's a line from the Star Trek, the motion picture with our guest, Persis Kambata. Persis Kambata was an Indian model, an actress, and an author. but she'll be best remembered for playing Lieutenant Ilia in the 1979 feature film Star Trek The Motion Picture. And let me set up a quick synopsis here. This is her character, Lieutenant Ilia. Basically, the Voyager probe was sent 300 years, from the past into space, and its mission was to collect data. It became a living being because it went throughout the universe collecting so much data. So what they did, they hijacked this actress here, her character. They turned her into this robot creature here. And so she was sent to find the creator. V'ger's looking for its creator. So in this scene we're about to see, V'ger gets ticked off because she can't find her creator, and Captain Kirk is going to psych her out. So let's show this video clip here.
The carbon units know why the creator has not responded.
Disclose the information.
Not until V'ger withdraws the devices orbiting the third planet.
Captain,
Look at that look.
I'm losing Starfleet. Interference from V'ger.
Kirk unit, disclose the information. Why has the creator not responded?
No.
So that's a pretty cool line. So she just goes on to have a temper tantrum, and finally Kirk gives her the information. But more information about Persis very, very quickly. She was born into a middle-class family in Mumbai, India, which is known at that time as Bombay. And there was a famous Bombay photographer that took some casual pictures of her as a little girl, and she wound up being used for a campaign for soap.
Oh.
And that led to her becoming a model, which led to her becoming and winning the Miss Femina Indian pageant in 1965. And she is also the third Indian woman to ever enter the Miss Universe pageant.
Wow.
And she also, when she won that Femina Miss India contest, she also won Miss Photogenic Sub-Award. So those are some pretty humble beginnings from an actress from India to have all that. She made her Bollywood debut in 1967. That's spelled B-O-L-L-Y, Bollywood.
It's like Hollywood with a B.
Yeah, with a film in 1967 where she played a cabaret singer, and then that led to her doing two films called Unbecoming Conduct and Willoughby Conspiracy, which led to her playing Lieutenant Ilia in the Star Trek film. And since then, she has won the Saturn Award for Best Actress in her role in the Star Trek film, which led to her being in Nighthawks and Mega Force and Warrior of the Lost World, Phoenix the Warrior in 1988, and finally, she was considered to be a Bond girl in the 1983 Octopussy film.
Ooh.
So she's come a long ways. Of course, that role went to Maud Adams, who was famous in her own right.
Yep.
And finally, her last appearance was in the 1993 pilot Lois and Clark episodes, The Adventures of Superman. So she was a well-rounded actress. We lost her in 1998 at the age of 49.
Oh.
So in her 49 years, she accomplished a lot. And when she wrote her book, her proceeds went to Mother Teresa's charity.
Oh.
So that was a kind thing for her to take the money she made from writing her book to help the people in that part of the world, the missionaries of charity. So
Yeah.
I'll end that on that note.
Thank you,
Someone
Asaph.
doing a kind deed.
That was Musical Notes with Asaph Adonai. Now we've got some more events, and this is for Saturday. Catterday. I gotta fix my hair. Sorry, guys. Okay. So starting at 10 a.m. Is the Winter Public Market. It's at the Hive on 3rd Street. Pretty much has all the things you could want in the farmer's market, except probably less produce. At Kurtz Aquatic Center, they're having a cross-country Nordic ski classes, Intro to Nordic. So you can improve your technique or learn a new winter pastime. So this is 10 to 2. Starts Saturdays. It's $22 as a city card. No, $20 and then $20 with city card. That's super reasonable. Yeah, starts at 10. That's awesome. And then over at Travelers Rest State Park, there's winter storytelling with Philip Burgess. I don't know why things are so hard for me today. But he tells the story of his great-grandfather's Montana journey as part of the winter storytelling at Travelers Rest. That's awesome. Starts at 11. It's located at 6717 Highway 12 out in West Lolo. And then this next event is pretty cool. The Physics of Animal Weaponry. This is going to be at the Missoula Insectarium. Starts at 11. You can explore the evolution of wild weapons with Devin O'Brien from the University of Montana and see how insects use their weapons. Pretty cool. And then over at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Church, they're having a Missoula Vegan New Year's potluck. Starts tomorrow at 12. I just want to point out how rude and annoying that is. You couldn't wait until I just wasn't talking anymore.
Sorry.
I have zero patience. Okay, so over at Currents Aquatic Center is sponsoring a MPG Ranch winter trekking and a campfire. Starts at noon, and these people, you can learn how to identify and track different animals in the snow and the bitterroots. All ages are welcome, but youth under 13 should have an adult. Yeah, so $20 or $16 with a city card, and just call Currents Aquatic Center if you want more information. But that starts at noon tomorrow. At McCormick Park, there's Fall in the Parks that starts at noon. And you can just learn some fall from Fall Pros from the Garden City, man. Pretty cool. And then MCAT, we've got our stop motion animation camp that starts tomorrow at 1 p.m. for ages 9 to 13. So bring your kids down and we can make some movies. It's pretty great. Yeah. At Natural Grocers at 2, they're having Paleo Reps class. So if you are on the paleo diet or want to learn more about it, or you're getting bored with your normal routine, you can go to this class. Yeah. Missoula Art Museum has got open figure drawing. It starts at 3 p.m. 3 to 5, $8 or $10 for non-members. And then we've got some music for tomorrow night. So over at Imagination Brewing Company, they're having an Anything But Susie, which is a band. Starts at 6. Red Onion Purple will be at Draftworks Brewing Company at 6. $80 poker tournament will be at the Poker Room at the Hilton at 7. And then at the Badlander at 9 is Absolutely with Chris Moon and Monte Carlo. Band in Motion is at the Union Club at 9:30. Country Boogie Boys are at the Sunrise Saloon at 9:30. And Pinky and the Floyd will be at the Top Hat Lounge at 10. So that's what's going on in your community. Check out MissoulaEvents.net, the University of Montana's website, the newspaper, or the Independent.
Cool. Are you particularly excited about any of these events?
No.
All right, then. We'll be right back with some city council right after an arts clip from the Missoula Art Museum. And we're here to talk about some city council. So the very first thing I kind of want to bring up as well is the admin and finance. And of course, Brownfield, we applied for a grant from the Brownfield Foundation Association grants from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and it's a total of about $400,000. And this is towards assessing the city of Missoula in terms of hazardous and petroleum waste on sites within the city limits. And that, so of course, quantified environmental professionals are being contracted to carry out the technical aspects of the grants, determining and prioritizing potential brownfield sites for testing, providing environmental testings. And of course, this is just phase 1. And of course, the person who does write these grants and find these grants is Nancy Hart, and she's the Grants Administrator Department and Grants and Community Programs, and she explains why we are doing this.
Always had, for a number of years, have had a revolving loan fund that provided grants and loans to do cleanup. But this one actually allows us to do the assessments, which is usually the first step, obviously, anyway. The $400,000 is largely going to be used to pay consultants who will actually go out and be on the ground and conduct phase 1s, which are sort of a historical look at a property. They look and say, well, what does the history say that this property used to be used for? Is there likely to be contamination? Who are the prior owners? Those kinds of things. And then if it warrants, they'll do a phase 2 where they actually go and do samples. Say, this looks like asbestos, this looks like lead-based paint.
All right. So she basically goes on to explain that a little more as well. Let's see. If you listen closely, you can see that this grant will only be the cost of the experts to actually come down and look at consult and say how bad the city of Missoula is doing in terms of environmental conditions. But beyond what we've put our money down, can you imagine how much it would cost? All right, so here's the perfect example. So I'm going to go to you, Noelle. Mm-hmm. So no. Imagine you're living in a place or and whatnot, and you're trying to sell your house. Okay. And of course, one of the things is like, oh, there's this new grant for the EPA Environmental Protection Agency to determine like my area. That's cool. I want to check that out. And then you find out that there's asbestos at the house that you're living that you want to sell.
Oh yeah.
Can you determine that you're going to be able to sell your house at market value?
Oh, no. Now you would have to deal with the asbestos and then try to sell your house after that. Yeah. So that's twice the amount of money.
Yep. So that's something that it's nice, but at the same time, it's like what you do know is it can also hurt you as much as what you don't.
Exactly. Yeah. Huh.
So of course, this grant is to promote buyers to buy and develop on certain parcels of the land. And they will, of course, the one big thing that they want to look into. I'm going to talk about that a little bit after this quote. So this grant is to promote buyers and developers to come down and to redevelop areas for like apartment complexes and beyond. But I'll talk a little bit more on that. And here is Nancy Hart once again.
One of the goals of the project is to begin collecting that data and developing a list. Obviously, we're already getting requests from people to say, we've got this property, we would really like to take a look at it. What usually happens is we do an assessment as part of a due diligence process where a buyer hasn't purchased the property yet, and they say, what's on here, what am I getting into? And that's when we would do it. But there's...
All right, so that kind of explains about what's going on there. And of course, everyone requires some kind of EPA report or something to basically determine whether or not the area is for development. And like one of the things is infrastructure, and Missoula is not known for infrastructure, basically. I mean, like, we had this conversation. There was a couple meetings a while ago where the city development agency we're looking into improving the north side, because the north side, since it's so close to Missoula, you'd think that they'd be a little more developed. Wrong, it's not. So this next quote, they're talking about the prospective site that is the Riverside Triangle, which is considered the Fox site, which is basically, Taco John, where Taco John's is by the hospital, that general wedge of land. They're going to make an apartment complex there, and that's one of the brownfield sites that are being
so they're going to block the view of the river and the mountains?
Oh yeah, from the Broadway. If you're driving down Broadway, you're not going to be able to see it from there.
That's a bummer.
But of course, there's so many trees in the way anyways. Sometimes you really can't see the river as much. But then again, you got to understand there's that huge parking lot area, and I think they're going to actually tear that parking lot down.
And put an apartment complex
because they already built another parking lot across the street, and they're going to tear down the I want to say the old Safeway building, and that's going to be parking there. So I'm assuming they're going to try to move everything a little more centrally located for the hospital, which opens up for developers to build near the floodplain that is the river.
Interesting.
So if you were a prospective buyer, Noelle, you could get on the list and when Noelle apartments go up, and then you won't have to worry about environmental hazards.
Yay! Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm on the list.
And I actually wrote yay too.
I know, that's why I said that.
Of course, I mean, and this is Nancy's last quote from this meeting as well, and she explains the process and how you got on the ticket.
Before we received this grant, the Riverfront Triangle, the Fox Partners, applied to the Environmental Protection Agency for a grant to do this assessment work. It was approved. And then you may remember there was that big spill in the river in Colorado, and the EPA consultant that was going to do that got pulled off to do that. So, and then we received the grant, and then it was at that point they said, well, you should do this as part of your assessment. So
all right, so that was basically it. But if you were listening fairly closely, like I was, you understand that a consultant that was going to be here in Missoula to assess that area for stuff basically got dragged down to go to a spill in Colorado, which is interesting because it kind of makes you think that the people who work for the EPA are fairly spread thin.
Yeah.
So that's just something. And of course, as I finish the segment, the meaning seems like the grant is considered, it is consistent, and it will be able to help Missoula not only with the assessment, but also with future projects and development and even cleanup. So, I mean, like, when I first read this, I was like, oh, so it's just an assessment, and then we're going to pay more into it later on. But the good news is that this grant also is reusable. It's recyclable. And you could... you're able to use this grant again and again and again and again. So, it's $400,000 now to pay for an EPA consultant to basically look at this site and be like, yeah, there's asbestos here. And then the next thing they do is like, let's clean it up. And like, you don't have to pay for it out of pocket. Here's a grant. Boom, done, finished. Okay, so that's pretty much
Interesting.
it. Yeah, it's really interesting. Oh, shoot. I just logged out of that wrong thing. So this next meeting I'm going to be talking about is the royalties for oil in federal lands in Montana. And of course, if you guys don't already know, the federal lands haven't increased the amount of its royalties. It's basically if the oil companies use federal land, they have to pay to the federal government, and then half of that money that goes to the federal government goes to the state of Montana, which is a potential $5-7 million that Montana is missing out on because of these royalties. And that's basically the main bulk of this. And so we have a very first quote, and this is from Greg Zimmerman, who is from the Center for Western Priorities, and he talks a little bit more about this.
Royalties are the public share from oil and gas development on public lands. Currently, companies drilling for oil or gas on federal lands pay a 12.5% royalty on the value of the oil or gas produced. And about 50% of that goes to the U.S. Treasury, and the other half comes back to Montana's general fund and helps pay for things like teachers and roads and firefighters.
All right, so basically that's what the money goes to, like roads and yada, yada, yada. And if you, one of the big things that that really just kind of like lingers in the back of my mind from this meeting is that the royalties haven't been raised since 1920.
Oh, wow.
And you think that, with any taxes or with anything, everything goes up. Everything, prices, rent, and all that stuff. But this never went up since 1920.
Oh, wow.
And so oil companies have been drilling in federal lands. But of course, of course, there was some talk back and forth around the city council members. But I want to actually let's skip ahead. Let's not talk a little bit more about this because I basically explained it to y'all. So this next thing I do want to show is this is from Harlan Wells.
Oh, wait.
And the opposing voice at the city council, and he is considered conservative. He considers himself a conservative, and he opposes this up in the royalties for basis that this may actually cause some of the oil companies who drill to not drill. So it's basically rather than get the money that we already have, we won't get any money ever again. That's what he's afraid of, and this is him explaining it.
It's probably going to make me pretty unpopular in this group, but I can't help but notice, but the groups that are supporting these are also the same groups that are trying to put brakes on oil and gas development on a whole, including this group for the Center for Western Priorities. You look at their website, one of their issues is bringing up all the problems with oil and gas. Currently, there are 0 drill rigs working in Montana, and we only had 12 to 13 at the height of the drilling boom. North Dakota had, I think, 220 at its peak. It's down to 53 as of Monday. I personally think this is a thinly veiled attempt to put a death nail in the oil and gas development in western states. I will not be supporting it.
Okay, Emily.
Okay, so that was the end of that quote, and
I just want to let you guys know that I have to leave for a class. So I hope that you all have a great weekend, and thanks for watching Wake Up Missoula. And I will see you Monday with City Council, and Scott and Asaph will continue on.
And of course, this is Emily Bentley, and she basically responds to Harlan Wells' comments.
Just because you don't agree with the mission of a group doesn't mean that you can't agree with something specific that pertains to local government and the funding of local government. And if you are a fiscal conservative and you don't like property taxes, this funding is very important to help property owners so that they don't have to, basically, we've been subsidizing the federal government for many years now. So I support it. I don't think it's any kind of thinly veiled attempt to stop oil and gas exploration, although I'm not saying I'm opposed to that either. I think it's clearly an attempt to get funding for our local government and to relieve property taxes. So
All right, so Emily Bentley does support this. And, of course, Marilyn Marler also responds to Harlan Wells' comments about how beneficial that raising the royalties on this almost 100-year basic floor, royalties floor, as I'm calling it. And here's Marilyn Marler.
Understand it might be a group that you don't agree with their platform, et cetera, but they brought this issue to my attention, and just looking at the basics of the royalty rates in comparison of, the rates across states, et cetera, and where the revenues would go, it just seems very clear-cut to me as something to support. And I try not to look at something like, well, this one came from so-and-so and I don't like them, so I'm not going to support it. I try to look at it as, the case of what it is, and this one seems pretty straightforward. I feel like we have a really huge problem across the United States of our infrastructure is all like wearing out. It's all going to wear out at the same time, and probably at the same time as the zombie apocalypse. It's going to be terrible. So we better start finding some alternative revenue streams that are fair so that we can keep having nice things.
All right. So that was Marilyn Marler. The last tidbit I'm going to explain is, of course, the motion did pass. So they're going to be talking a little bit more about royalties, but of course this is basically just like they're going community to community to determine if they can get a consensus to get Montana to convince the federal government. It's like, hey, it's about time to raise royalty rates. I don't know if this is a good time, but we just want to see if the option is available, and that's basically what you got going on for your city council report. So, Asaph, do you have any plans for this weekend?
Not really. I'm just going to kind of take it easy and try to get some practice in this weekend.
Are you going to watch Star Wars the Motion Picture again?
I don't know. I've seen it about a zillion times already anyway.
Yeah. But of course, it is Friday, and I'm going to show the Flagship Friday video of the week, and when we come back, I'm going to do some social networking and say our goodbyes. But without further ado, here is today's Flagship Friday video of the week.
Hi. Hi! These books are heavy. Why don't you just put them in your locker? Do you trust the locker system? Yes. Look. It's open. Oh, I'm just gonna go... Okay. Let's just close this person's locker now. Maybe if we just... Here, I'll fix it. See? Yeah. Okay. Bye. Bye. Penelope, that's not your locker! 'Cause I love him. What are you doing? I'm nothing. Mind your own business. If you still want to be part of the cool girl squad, you can't fantasize about stupid boys. Oh! Rebecca, this is serious.
Excuse me?
I wasn't singing about no boy. I was singing about a man. JD, what's your problem? You know that song that's like, na na, na na na? Boo! Let me start from the beginning. Na na, na na. Oh gosh, please don't tell me you're singing about JD again. Ew, no. Boo. Oh good, I'm sick and tired of hearing about that JD. I'm sick and tired of hearing you. Boo! What's her problem? Just ignore it. I know, I hate her too.
I can hear you.
Excuse me. Ow, I fell on my birthday. As I was saying, Simone, she's singing about JD. Wow. What was that? My magnet. Oh my God. I'm just really tired of the people around here in our school. I can't believe we're 2 minutes late to class. I know, we're so right. Guys, it's 2 minutes. That's not that bad.
Hey, you guys are 2 minutes late for class.
We know. Seriously, dude. Walker!
Excuse me? These are the 8th grade stairs.
I can't even think about that right now. Just like give me a pass or something.
No, you have to be in 8th grade. You have to pass 6th grade, 7th grade, then 6th grade, and then half of 7th grade, then you're an 8th grader.
So then I can be 8th grade and I can hang out with you guys?
Well, we'll be in high school by then. So.
So let's go Simone.
Simone, does that rhyme with 6th grader?
Hey, I take offense to that. Wait, where'd you come from? I came from the 7th grade wing. They just keep multiplying.
If you want any advice from us, you have to go file it in that trash can.
Okay. Hey, trash can. I want some advice from those 8th graders over there.
All right, so that was your Flagship Friday video of the week, and of course, I really want to thank everybody for joining me this morning. I want to thank Noelle, who had to go leave and take some pictures of snow for class. Asaph for playing piano. You were playing a little Star Trek throughout the whole entire show? Just a little taste of like Star Trek, and you're like, oh yeah. So if you guys listen closely to any of our episodes of Wake Up Missoula, you can totally kind of hear what Asaph's going to be talking about for his musical notes. Just a little Easter egg for our morning show as well. But of course, you can also find out more information by logging on to our Wix page at wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice, your major spelled out twice. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at wakeupmissoula. So simple. You can also like MCAT at MCAT Missoula. Not as simple as at Wake Up Missoula, but just as awesome and great. You could also like Missoula Community Access Television on Facebook. Apparently you have to type out Missoula Community Access, and then it eventually pops up. You could also go to mcat.org, where our official website is. You can get in contact with us. You can drop your own little video in this little red box right here, and it's great. You know, if you have a bunch of programs and you want to put it on our show, you're more than welcome to fill out a program contract and give it to us. We'll accept pretty much anything, but of course, if it's viewer discretion advised, we'll play it after 10:30. But that's about it for Wake Up Missoula. If you want to get in contact with us, you can call us at 542-6228, otherwise known as 542-MCAT. You can email us, mcat@mcat.org, and You can social media us through any of the things I've just shown you. But without further ado, take it away, Asaph. And for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramf.